Let's talk about overeating. What's normal, what's not, what's okay, what's a little questionable. Today I'm going to talk about how to overcome overeating and just really feel in your power with food so food doesn't feel like it has any power over you. So there's nothing wrong with overeating on occasion. Plenty of people go to parties, go to events, maybe have a long day and get a second helping kind of on autopilot without thinking about it. Normal eaters do these things too. Where it gets a little sticky is if it's this habitual pattern of overeating all the time, or if things have kind of like a compulsive feeling to them. So I'm going to talk about that in a second. Before, I want to talk about how to kind of decipher whether it's just a little bit of normal overeating and you need to bring a little presence back to your plate, or whether it's an actual compulsive urge that we might need to do something a little different about. So some tips for just overcoming the normal overeating. Pausing and presence is really powerful. This seems so simple, but really it's so common for us just to go through the day on autopilot, specifically during the day and really at night, because nighttime's when everything slows down and we have kind of a chance to sit and be with ourselves. And then I see so many women overeating at night. I also see women overeating when they're running ragged throughout their day, not paying attention and just, tossing things in their mouth real quick, right? So you want to really practice pausing, presence, being with yourself, being in your body when you're making your food choices. And that's going to actually overcome so many forms of overeating. Another time that's really common for overeating is at parties, festivities, when you're kind of not paying attention because there's a lot going on, or when there's food around that isn't typically there. I see a lot of people have that whole, I don't normally get to have this, or I'm starting the diet over next week. Let me just get this in now because it's not going to be here. And that really brings us to the second portion of this. A huge way to combat overeating, and this sounds counterintuitive, is actually eating enough. When we don't eat enough, certain things get activated in the brain that drive us to think about food, drive us to overeat, drive us to have cravings, drive us to eat on autopilot without even thinking about it. So if you've ever had that like, whoa, something just kind of took over me, before I know it, half the bag of chips was gone, whole bag of chips was gone, going to the second bag of chips, whatever it might be, that has a lot to do with this autopilot tendency that comes from your needs not getting met. So a huge way to combat overeating is letting the mealtime experience register, pausing, being present with your meals, and really making sure you're satisfying your body's nutritional requirements and eating adequately and getting enough food in. And now let's talk about kind of like the gray area to the actual compulsion. So there's a difference between getting a second helping when you don't need it and actually having this urge for a second helping or for a dessert or for whatever that is that will not go away. If you have an urge for something that's compulsive, this is kind of some of the characteristics to look out for. It will feel compulsive. One, it'll feel almost like if you told yourself no, you wouldn't be able to get it out of your mind. It'd feel like once you see it, you have to have it. There'll sometimes be plotting and planning going on. It'll be very autopilot, often, not always, but often, meaning you just grab one snack and then another snack and then another snack. What are some other signals? So yeah, it's like an anxious feeling in the body with your food versus just overeating happened because there's some food there and you ate it without thinking. One is kind of like this mindless automatic thing that happens without much pressure, and one is this like compulsive pull that's automatic, but it's got that pull to it, right? So if you are experiencing those compulsions, there are some steps to take, but this is bigger than overeating. This isn't just like a normal eater occasionally having a lot of food. This could be something like binge eating or compulsive overeating, and there are extra steps to take with this. A huge part of the process is really understanding the physiology and the brain patterns and knowing the certain things that drive this compulsive overeating behavior or this binge eating behavior, so you can stop making yourself wrong, stop trying to control or fight it, because control does more, it causes more chaos, and really get into this place where you can break these patterns in the brain and body that are pulling you to have compulsive urges to binge. So if you kind of fall out of the normal overeating category and fall into this compulsive eating category, I have a gift for you. I made a free training in the description below the video that will talk all about breaking that cycle of compulsive compulsive overeating, shutting the switch off in the brain that drives you to binge and overeat, and really setting yourself up where you can be back in your power of food with food and feel free. Have what we call food freedom forever. So go grab that free training in the description below this video. And if you liked what I had to say, I give tips like this on food, on body, on freedom every single Tuesday. So be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss a thing. And I would love to hear from you in the comments. Where do you fall? Do you fall more in the category of overeating? And do you fall more in the category of compulsive eating? Please ask me any questions. I will jump in and support you in the comments below.